The following program is called Brain Games. It has been known to drive people bananas.
Innocent viewers often scream
At the sight and sound of some of the questions. People with weak knees
or those with a fear of failure are advised to refrain from viewing.
Parents should watch
only at the discretion of their children.
I said no, Mom.
No.
No, Mom.
So hold on to your thinking caps.
and let us begin.
Brain Game! And now, game number 1.
Tales of Rongovia. This is the secret book of Rongovia, a place where everybody is out of sorts. And no wonder, because everything is out of time and place. To decipher the book's code, we will tell you tales, and you will tell us their mistakes. Let's begin. We are at the court of King Henry VIII. Fun-loving Henry likes sports. But which of these sports could not have been played in the 1500s? Tennis? Bowling? Boxing? Or basketball? Well, King Henry could have played tennis. It had been around for about 300 years. And bowling is one of the oldest sports. As for boxing, the first boxing match happened 3,000 years ago. So, King Henry could have been a boxer. But what he could not have played was basketball. That sport wasn't invented until 1891. So, King Henry never dunked, unless it was a dumpling. Don't dribble, Henry. Now we return to Tales of Rongovia. The year is 1142, and it is the golden age of chivalry. Now, when a noble knight tried to impress a lovely lady fair, he could have used all of these eating tools except one. Which one of these could he not have used? A golden goblet? A silver fork? A metal knife? A jeweled spoon? Well, he could have used a knife. And goblets and spoons were found even in the poorest huts. But in England, forks were still unknown at the table. Knives and spoons did the job, and food was finger-licking good. Now we flip the page to the time of the mighty Roman Empire. Emperor Julius Caesar, who makes Rome his home, is having a wild and crazy party. At this festivity, the emperor could have tasted all of these delicate morsels except one. Which one could he not have had? Luscious melons, lemon ices, sweet dried fruits, or chocolate candies? Well, available to our emperor were luscious melons as well as sweet dried fruits. And Julius could also have enjoyed a frosty treat of lemon ices. But what Julius could not have enjoyed in his party was chocolate candies. chocolate comes from the South American cacao bean, and the Inca existed. Julius Caesar lived until 44 BC. BC, before chocolate. And now we turn to the early 1600s, and we are in the time of the famous playwright William Shakespeare. Shakespeare hath come down with a case of the flu and cannot attend the premiere of Hamlet. To sneeze or not to sneeze? To treat his patient, Shakespeare's doctor could have used only one of the following: a stethoscope, an X-ray, penicillin, leeches for bloodletting. Which one could his doctor have used? His doctor had no stethoscope. It was invented in the 1800s. As for the X-ray, that was invented in 1895. And penicillin was discovered in 1928. So, Will's doctor could only have used live leeches for bloodletting. It was believed that the leeches would drink up the bad blood. But leeches can't do much to cure the flu, so Will Shakespeare would have been better off with chicken soup. Now it's time to close the book of Rongovia. The sun is coming up, so it's time to say good night. I bid you farewell with a fond hello.
Game number 2.
Hey, gang, it's Memory Rock time! Introducing that sensational new group, the Cucumbers! Singing their new song, My Boyfriend! Okay, get ready. This is a memory game, and you must watch carefully, because the picture that you see is gonna disappear. Watch carefully, because I'm gonna ask you to remember what you see, what it is that you see. Got it? Good, because it's gone. Here comes our #1 big hit question. How many members are there in the band? Were you watching? How many members in the band? If you said 4, you've hit the score. Hey, there are 3 guitars and 1 drummer. And the Memory Rock just keeps on rocking with question numero 2. How many cucumbers are singing at the mic? I ask you now, how many are singing at the mic? Tell me 2 and I love you. There's that sweet little pickle Dina and that sour pickle John. So there's vocalists 2 singing My Boyfriend. The Memory Rock rocks on. Now watch those guitars, because here comes a toughie. Watch them now. How many of the guitarists are strumming those strings with their left hand? That's right. How many are lefties? Here's the answer. The question's done. They're all right-handed, so the answer's none. Check out how they're strumming those guitars, and you'll know I'm right on. And I'm going right on to question number 4. How many drums does our drummer boy drum? How many drums make up this beat? If you said 3, then right you'd be. Hey, there's 1 bass, 1 snare, and 1 tom-tom. Okay, now you think you're ready for anything. Well, I'll take that notion apart with a killer question. Only 1 in a million listeners gets this one. Good luck. What's the name of the Cucumbers' song? What's the title of the song they're singing? The title is My Boyfriend. And if you got that right, you've got a memory I wouldn't not, because you are a genuine Memory Rock!
Game number 3.
What was that? Boy, it's frightening out there. But am I scared? Nah, no way. You know what I think? It's time to play Safari Solitaire. Okay, so let's play. You pick the card that doesn't belong. Now, all of these animals are in danger of becoming extinct except one. Which one animal is not in danger? You got your giant panda, your blue whale, the Siberian tiger, and one of your Antarctic penguins. Okay, which one is not endangered? Did you pick the panda? Poor pandas are in trouble. This fussy eater eats mainly bamboo, which more and more people cut down to make room for farmland. Did you say the blue whale? This big baby is in 150 tons of trouble because they've been hunted down. Oh, it's no wonder that these blue whales are singing the blues. What about the Siberian tiger? You got it. Siberian tigers are hunted down for their skins. Yep. Which leaves us the penguin. Haha, good news. No one wants to eat them, wear them, or steal their food. So there are plenty of baby penguins around. On with the game. Did you hear something growl? I feel like an endangered species. Well, let's play. Now, there's real and there's make-believe. And one of these guys is a real animal. Is it the one-horned unicorn, the platypus, the griffin, or the phoenix? Now, only one of these is real. Did you say the unicorn? Too bad, make-believe. Pick the griffin? Forget it. Now, what about the phoenix? Fantasy. And since truth is stranger than fiction, let's hear it for the winner. The platypus, one of the oddest creatures. It lays eggs like a bird, nurses its young like a mammal, and the male has venom like a snake. So if you said platypus, congratulations. Did you hear that? Well, let's play it again, kiddo. Okay? And now for a tender, loving story. Which one of these animals gives birth to the smallest baby? A kangaroo? A rabbit? A pig? A chimpanzee? Well, it's not the rabbit. And it's not the pig. And it's not the chimpanzee. The animal that has the smallest baby is the kangaroo. This tiny little fella is less than 1 inch when he makes the climb into his big mama's pocket. And it'll take another 5 months before it pokes his head out and says, "Hi, Mom." And now for a jumpy story. Which one of these animals can jump the highest relative to its size? A frog, a grasshopper, a flea, a cat. It's not the cat. It's not the grasshopper. Scratch the frog. It's not the frog. But a flea can jump 100 times its body size. Why do fleas jump so high? What else has a flea got to do? Watch television? And that's it. The end of Safari Solitaire, my favorite card game. Help! When's the next bus to Texas?
Game number 4.
Hello, friends and foes. This is Chuck Roast the Riddler. And have I got pot boilers for you? I'm talking belly busters, thigh slappers, and gigantic groans. You'll laugh and moan as hard as a ticklish hippopotamus being tormented by a giant feather duster. And speaking of hippos, a big subject, a weighty issue. Here comes riddle number uno. It's about 3 fat ladies. There was Roly-Poly Polly, Tremendous Tessie, and Enormous Edith. These 3 big ladies were walking down Main Street under one small umbrella. I ask you, why did the 3 fat ladies under the umbrella not get wet? Why? Because it wasn't raining. Do I hear a gale of laughter? Did somebody call me a drip? Well, dry up, because here comes the next rattled riddle. What happened to the wolf who fell into the washing machine? This one was told to me by Red Riding Hood herself. So what happened to the wolf who fell into the washing machine? He became a wash and werewolf. Get it? Werewolf! Here's another doozy. I got a million of them. Okay, so what's gray and has a trunk? This is a real squeaker, and I tell you no tales. So, what's gray and has a trunk? No, not an elephant.
Eeks, a mouse going on vacation.
Ready for more? Can you stand it? Yeah? So what's tan and has a trunk? You got it!
A mouse coming back from vacation.
Wasn't that monstrous? And speaking of monsters, what do you get if you cross Frankenstein with a hot dog? That's a spooker. So what do you get if you cross Frankenstein with a hot dog? Get a Frankenfooterstein. And I wouldn't advise you to put mustard and sauerkraut on one. Stop hooting. Stop hooting. This is Chuck Roast, your pitiful puzzler saying so long. And remember, if you see King Kong climbing up the side of your house, don't go ape.
Game number 5.
Welcome to tricky Digitville, the town where numbers are every little thing and every much everywhere. The people who live here are called the devious digit maniacs, and not without reason. The digit maniacs do nothing but think about number games every second, minute, and hour of their lives. So get ready to match your wits with the terribly tricky digits. Here is the picturesque Digitville Forest, one of the digit maniacs' most delightful picnic spots. A favorite question digit maniacs will often ask is, how far can a digit maniac go into the forest? Seems like an easy question, but it's tricky. How far can a digit maniac go into the forest? How far? Watch out for this one. Halfway. Because after that, the maniac is on his way out of the forest. Get the picture? These are the challenges of Digitville, and these are the mischievous ways of its maniacs. Now, this is the office of Dr. Addybones, the leading doctor of Digitville. A favorite treatment of Dr. Addybones is to prescribe anti-maniac pills. If Dr. Addybones prescribes one pill every half hour, how long would it take a patient to take 3 pills? This one's not so simple. The answer is 1 hour. since the patient would take the first pill right away, the second a half hour later, and the third a half hour after that. And Digit Maniac pills are hard to swallow. Now, Digit Maniacs love to play dominoes. Meet Donald and meet Dennis. They each played 3 games. Each won 3 games, but they were not tied. Why? Tricky, tricky. Look again. They weren't playing each other. Now, to get away from nasty numbers and to breathe clean air, Digit Maniacs often take buses to other cities. Here's a bus ride with a curve, so watch carefully. The Digitville bus starts out empty, and at the first stop, it picks up 7 Digit Maniacs. At the next stop, 3 get on and 5 get off. And the next stop, 4 get on and 2 get off. And the next stop, 2 get on. And at the last stop, 1 gets off. Okay, here's the curve. How many stops did the bus make? The answer? 5 stops. Were you counting Digit Maniacs? Sure, there were 8 maniacs on the bus, but that wasn't the question. Well, now it's time to leave tricky Digitville and all its hysterical numericals. Here in Digitville, even time can run out, and it has.
Game number 6. The final game.
This trip is imaginary, but the places and things along the way are real. After a 2-million-year visit on the planet Earth, the homesick space creature BLT prepares to return to his faraway planet. It is time to play a space scramble. Aceps Gevoya. Unscramble. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time for space voyage. Here at the Stargaze panel, BLT guides his ship to outer space. Passing the planet Mars, all seems A-OK. Suddenly, the crisis monitor reveals Irodetsus approaching. Irodetsus! Irodetsus! What are they? BLT must navigate around these Irodetsus to avoid hitting one that is 600 miles across. 5 seconds remain. What are Irodetsus? Unscramble. 3, 2, 1. Asteroids! They are asteroids! Phew! That was close. Suddenly, crisis monitor alerts. Watch out for Repugit, largest planet in solar system. Its atmosphere has great red spot, 3 times size of Earth. Repugit has many moons. What is it? Unscramble. 3, 2, 1. It's Jupiter! Safe. No harm there. Time to relax. Again, the warning light. Warning, warning. BLT approaches fearful and dreaded Clavikilo. A collapsed star with force so great, nothing escapes, not even light. It is invisible. Clavikilo! It's now or never. Unscramble. 3, 2, 1. Black hole! BLT, you made it! Now, BLT, unscramble the password to your destination, Axagali. There are billions of these in the universe, made up of stars, dust, and gas. Unscramble, Axagali. 3, 2, 1. Galaxy! BLT is home at last. And there she is, Rhythm. After 2 million years, dinner is still hot and waiting. BLT's Rhythm. Who is it? Unscramble. 3, 2, 1. Mother. Acep's Gavoya is over. BLT's successful mission has avoided collision with Irodetsus, Repuget, and survived the nothingness of Klabakilo. At last he arrives at his home Axagalley and finds his dear old Rhythm. Pleasant dreams, BLT. And good night.
Brain Games is now over.
Okay, get ready. This is a memory game, and you must watch carefully, because the picture that you see is gonna disappear.
So what's tan and has a trunk?
You got it.
A mouse coming back from vacation.
Julius Caesar lived until 44 BC. BC, before chocolate. This tiny little fella is less than 1 inch when he makes the climb into his big mama's pocket. And it'll take another 5 months before he pokes his head out and says,
Hi, Mom.
A favorite treatment of Dr. Addybones is to prescribe anti-maniac pills.
To sneeze or not to sneeze. Why do fleas jump so high? What else has a flea got to do? Watch television?
Sure, there were 8 maniacs on the bus, but that wasn't the question.
Pleasant dreams, BLT. And good night.
The preceding program has been recommended for family viewing by the National Education Association.
The following program is called
Brain Games number 2. The first was known to drive people
Bananas!
This one makes them completely bonkers.
Innocent viewers often scream.
At the sight and sound of some of the questions. People with weak knees
Or those with a fear of failure are advised to refrain from viewing.
Parents should watch
Only at the discretion of their children.
I said no, Mom.
No, no, no.
No, Mom.
No, Mom.
So hold on to your thinking caps.
and let us begin.
Brain Game. And now, game number 1.
Tales of Rongovia. This is the secret book of Rongovia, a place where everybody is out of sorts. And no wonder, because everything is out of time and place. To decipher the book's code, we will tell you tales, and you will tell us their mistakes. Let's begin. We now turn to the year 1596. Here is baby Pocahontas at her first birthday party. Her father, Chief Powhatan, has made an elaborate feast. At the party, there is one thing Powhatan could not have served his guests. Which one food could they not have eaten? Yummy rare roast beef, scrumptious boiled lobster, tasty roast squirrel, or super sliced turkey with all the trimmings. Well, Pocahontas could have poked her fingers into a lobster. There were plenty in the sea. And Pocahontas could have poked at roast squirrel, and turkeys aplenty lurked in the forest. But the one food that could not have been served at her birthday celebration was roast beef. Because cattle were not native to America, there was no roast beef until 15 years later when the colonists brought cattle from England. Now, let us flip to another page and another age. It is 1863. Honest Abe Lincoln is president. He can't get home for dinner because he's got to deliver a speech at Gettysburg. In order to get a message to his wife, President Lincoln could have used all these methods of communication except one. Which one could he not have used? The telegraph, the railroad, the telephone, or the stagecoach? Abe could have used the railroad or sent his message by stagecoach. And yes, he could have wired by telegraph. But he could not have used the telephone, and not because he didn't have the right change. The telephone wasn't invented until 1876. By then, his dinner was stone cold, and Honest Abe was long since gone. We turn to another page, and who have we here? Martha Washington. It is 1776, and Martha wants to give her husband, General George Washington, a picture of herself to take on his travels. Which one of these following likenesses could she not have given to her gallant general? An oil painting, perhaps a dainty silhouette, a lovely photograph, or an enamel miniature? Well, Martha could have had an artist paint the picture, or create a silhouette, or even an enamel miniature. But photography was not invented until 1816. Alas, she couldn't have given George a photograph. Poor George. Let us now go west. It is 1866, and Jesse James is busy robbing banks. He's about to make another daring getaway. In making this getaway, he could have used all of these methods of escape except one. Which one could he not have used? Could Jesse have exited on a bicycle, or a hot air balloon, or a steamboat? Could he have jumped into a horseless carriage? Well, Jesse could have escaped on a bike, or steamed away on a steamboat, or beat the heat in a hot air balloon. But Jesse could not have used a horseless carriage or motor car because gasoline cars were not invented until 1885. But what Jesse probably used was his horse. Now it's time to close the book of Rongovia. The sun is coming up, so it's time to say good night. I bid you farewell with a fond hello.
Game number 2.
It's time to play Who's a Whatchamacallits?
the game in which we give you clues, and you tell us who or what.
She's a cover girl who uncovers crime, a marvel when it comes to justice. She gives bad guys a hand in the form of a fist. No one crosses this Amazon, and no wonder. A patriotic dresser. Her bracelets are a knockout. She's Wonder Woman.
This one's a game. At the end of the line, you get crowned king. It takes 64 squares to play this game, but you start with a round dozen. You can either be in the black or in the red. It's checkers. She walked on glass, but never got a scratch. A pumpkin coached her. She's a perfect 10 who has to be in by 12. Her stepsisters were all misfits. But when her slipper fit, it was wedding bells. She's Cinderella. He's an escape artist. This lockpicker was never arrested. Upside down, inside out, chained and underwater. If he wore handcuffs, they were his own. This great magician is Houdini. This hairy giant made it to the top of New York. His rise to success was a long climb. He prefers blondes to bananas. But when he picks up a girl, she goes ape. He's King Kong.
Game number 3.
Yikes! What was that? Boy, it's frightening out there. But am I scared? Nah. You know what I think? It's time to play Safari Solitaire. Okay, so let's play. You pick the card that doesn't belong. Now, when it comes to winter, a lot of animals make major changes in the way they live. Only one of these animals doesn't change his lifestyle when the temperature drops. Is it the groundhog, the robin, the weasel, or your basic cottontail rabbit? Now, which one of these animals makes no changes when winter comes? Well, if you pick the groundhog, you're wrong. The groundhog puts on a thick coat of fur and fat, builds a nest, and sleeps out the winter. Sweet dreams, little honey. And it's not the robin. He heads south, migrates nearly 1,000 miles for fun in the sun. And it's not the weasel. He sheds his brown coat and turns into a snow-white ermine with a black tail. Very classy. So, the one animal that does nothing special for winter is the rabbit. He just keeps doing his thing. If you said rabbit, jump for joy. Oh, did you hear that? Okay, now, let's play it again. Which one of these animals lives the longest? A hippo? A parrot? A giraffe? A man? It's not the hippopotamus. This 6,000-pounder lives about 30 years, and then he's off to hippo heaven. As for the long-necked giraffe, he has a short lifespan, about 15 years. You say it's the parrot? You've heard these birds live 150 years. Probably a parrot started that rumor. Fact is, parrots live about 50 years. The winners? Man, womankind, and kidkind. Here we live more than 70 years and going up. Good news. Holy mackerel! What was that? I'm nobody's dinner special. Let's deal our last hand. Only one of these animals can live entirely underwater. Which one of these sea creatures does not need to come up for air? Sam the sperm whale, Dave the dolphin, Sylvester the shark, or Priscilla the penguin? You're all wet if you said the sperm whale. He can stay underwater for about an hour, but then he comes up for a deep breath. Dolphins need air every few minutes. The penguin? She's no fish. She just dives deep for food, but has to come up to breathe. The answer? It's the shark that parks permanently underwater. He breathes through gills. So if you said shark, you came up right. Shark! And that's it for Safari Solitaire, my favorite game. Help! When's the next bus to Texas?
Game number 4.
My name is Hedda Whopper. I work for the Gadabout Bulletin, and I cover the news about Washington, D.C. party givers. Tonight is the Snootleys' Big Bash. The biggest problems here are the party crashers. Guests who just don't belong but try to sneak past security. My story is about uninvited guests, and that's the headline. Now, at the Snootley soiree tonight, you've got to help me cover the story. So let's watch the uninvited guests, those who try to crash the bash. In each group of guests, one does not belong. Ah, here we have the president, a governor, a mayor, and a lawyer. Now, one of them is a gate crasher. President, governor, mayor, lawyer? But which one? Well, the president, governor, and mayor are all elected officials. The lawyer doesn't belong. Sorry, lawyer. Next case. Ooh, artistic folk. The Snootleys love artistes. Oh, here's a dancer. A singer, a painter, and an actor. Charming. But one is a gatecrasher. Dancer, singer, painter, actor. Ooh. The dancer, the singer, and the actor are all theater folk, performing artists. But the painter doesn't belong. He gets the brush off. And here are the men at last. Oh, I do love strong men. But one of them is about to strike out. Is it the basketball player, the soccer player, the football player, or the hockey hunk? The basketball player, the soccer player, the football player, the hockey hunk. Sorry, Mr. Hockey. Although you're rather cute, you're the only one who plays without a ball. No goal today. Oh, I do love royalty. And so do the Snootleys. Ooh, here's a queen. A princess. A general. And His Majesty. A king. Practically a royal flush. But we must flush out the crasher. The king, queen, and princess are of blood royal. But the general was not meant to occupy a place at this party. Sound the retreat! And finally, the medical brigade. Mr. Snootley's cardiologist, the Snootley family pharmacist, baby Snootley's pediatrician, and Mrs. Snootley's plastic surgeon. Now, one doesn't fill the prescription for a Snootley guest at this party. What's your diagnosis? The cardiologist doctors hearts. The pediatrician doctors children. The surgeon is a big operator. They all write prescriptions. They're doctors. But the pharmacist fills prescriptions. He's the pill at this party. Well, the proper guests have all arrived. The crashers have been sorted out, and it's time for the festivities to begin, and for me to leave. I wasn't invited either.
Game number 5.
The following shipment of art masterpieces were discovered to be frauds. Now, I'm no art professor, just a good detective. The name of the game is Find the Fraud. Spot the mistakes in these supposed priceless art treasures. Take it away, Mona. Here's our first suspect. Good old patriotic George Washington crossing the Delaware in the cold winter of 1776, the time of the War of Independence. But this picture is a fraud. Why? Check out the flag. This flag has 50 stars for 50 states, but at that time, there were only 13 colonies to fight for. Sorry, George, don't flip your wig.
Okay, take this next one. I am your son, King Tutankhamun, ruler of southern Heliopolis. This is supposed to be from 1350 BC, an original inscription from King Tut's tomb. But it's another phony. Know why? Well, King Tut couldn't have written in English. In fact, he couldn't have written letters at all. In Egypt back then, there was no alphabet. They used pictures and signs called hieroglyphics that stood for words. The guy who bought this piece from Egypt was gypped.
What have we here? A happy Dutch family scene. It's Christmas Eve in 1663. But one of the items in this picture is not for real. You got it. There was no television in 1663. You'd have to wait until the 1940s. Sorry, Cookie. Find another picture. Now take a look at this one. It's 1775, and Paul Revere is coming to warn the Patriots that the British are coming. The British are coming. So, what's wrong? Check out the street lights. Electric, no less. Didn't have electric lights until the 1880s, so this picture is worthless. When Revere rode, he rode by moonlight. Well, my story of art frauds would not be complete without the biggest fraud of all. Get a load of the artist Whistler's portrait of his mom, painted in 1872. Sorry, Mom, no transistors, no cassettes in your day. If you listen to music, it was probably played by your good son, James. Or maybe at a concert. Sorry, Mrs. Whistler. Now, don't go off your rocker. I tell you, Mona, art frauds like these make me wish for a good old-fashioned murder. Sorry, folks, I gotta go now. Somebody's being framed.
Game number 6. The final game.
In the late night hours, Dr. Gibberish and his faithful counterpart, Nurse Feverish, perform a secret experiment. Known for expertise in how the body works, Dr. G has gathered the ingredients for a special creation. But Dr. G, the genius, often speaks in scrambles, so his words must be unscrambled. It's time to play Splatnam! Transplant! Dr. Gibberish has collected an assortment of vital organs which he will now put together to create who knows what. First, Nurse Feverish uncovers a pair of slightly used Nedics. Nedics, they help to keep the blood nice and clean and to control the amount of water in the body. You wouldn't want a flood, would you? Nedics. What are they? Dr. Gibberish is asking for kidneys. Excellent. Now he may add them to his creation. Next, Dr. Gibberish adds one of the longest parts, a curly string of itinetzes. They are talking about 21 feet of tubing, and that's called the small one. There's a large one, too. Food goes through these tubes. The good stuff goes where it is needed in the body. The rest is waste. That is an itinetzes, Liebchen. Intestines! But what good are intestines without an am shot, I ask you? An am shot is an organ like a little balloon. When you eat, it gets larger, and when you digest, it gets smaller. Cute, yeah? Dr. Gibberish delicately places the am shot in place. What an artist! Oh, what a craftsman! You know what I'm talking about? Am shot! Stomach! It's a stomach! Next, Dr. Gibberish requests a strong aether for this lucky creature. This muscle is going to do a lot of work, keeping the blood moving around. Very important equipment. It's got to last a lifetime. So what's an aether? A heart, of course. And now, Dr. Gibberish calls for a renib. This organ's got gray matter and white matter, but what matters is what it is. Actually, it is nature's master computer, the home of memory and wisdom. A genuine renib. What is it? It's the brain, Liebchen. And now, the big moment. The brand new creature is twitching. It is rising. It is trying to speak. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Liebchen lizards. It seems Nurse Feverish got some froggy parts mixed with people parts. But so what? Better a pet monster that jumps around than schlumps around, yeah? Well, auf Wiedersehen until next time from Splatnant Hospital. Gribbit, gribbit.
Gribbit.
Brain Games is now over.
Oh, I do love royalty. And so do the Snootleys. Ooh, here's a queen. A princess. A general. And His Majesty. A king. Practically a royal flush.
Check out the flag. This flag has 50 stars for 50 states, but at that time, there were only 13 colonies to fight for. Sorry, George, don't flip your wig.
Pocahontas could have poked her fingers into a lobster. There were plenty in the sea. Here we live more than 70 years and going up. Good news.
My name is Hedda Whopper. I work for the Gadabout Bulletin, and I cover the news about Washington, D.C. party givers.
But photography was not invented until 1816.
There was no television in 1663. You'd have to wait until the 1940s. Sorry, Cookie. Find another picture.
Well, auf Wiedersehen until next time. From Splattenarm Hospital. Ribbit, gribbit.
Gribbit.
The preceding program has been recommended for family viewing by the National Education Association.